Okay, this will be the spiritual reading for the Gemini for the fall season. It could unfold over a week, it could unfold over a month, or the whole season itself. So we'll get into it here. First card, the spiritual side for the Geminis. Queen of Earth, 13. How many moments? So we may have a queen here, or you may be a queen who is quite grounded for a Gemini. I feel like if we are in this energy, being an air sign, that we are really, they're going beside ourselves. So we are really in a mode here where we are not who we normally portray ourselves to be. But this is a good thing because we are a lot more centered, a lot more focused, and a lot more driven in ways that we just we haven't maybe been in the past, or it's not of our nature to be. It is our nature to be light and effervescent and all kind of over the place. So there's a sense of being focused here and driven. So that's good, Queen of Earth. So that could be someone in your sphere if you're masculine, or could be you in this energy at this time if you're feminine. Next card, the Self making its rounds. This one, mind you, I've only done a few readings so far. So Self, this is good for spirituality because we want to be in this energy. We want to be focusing on our inner power, our inner worth. I feel like the Geminis are here goes my throat again. I feel like the Geminis are really centering themselves, grounding themselves, finding the peace within so that they can walk outside of themselves and find it as well. I think what's going on here is we are, everybody's here shifting in a life-changing way. So that's really what it is. We're trying to get to our core so that we can push outward more focused and driven and grounded in a way that we want to go. May not have figured that out in the past. Okay, next Gaia card here. 10 of Water. Yeah, this is interesting because right away they said we're taming our emotions. We're learning what emotions are, and we're taming them at the same time, like trying to work within all that we are discovering in an emotional front. Because they're showing or emphasizing her teasing the wave there with her hand. It's like, we can't come up too far here. We don't want to lose our cool, right? So there's a sense here that there's emotional turbulence, but it's not anything that we can't handle at this point. Now they're also showing me the moon there that she's holding off her other hand. And that is about illusions within the emotional center. So we've got to be careful there. Maybe tripped up in a way is a sense that they're giving me. Now, Turtle is about longevity. Yeah, the Queen of Earth, we are centered on our emotional state here. And if we are in Earth energy, we're fine with things the way that they are. We may have or are in the midst of taming things outside of ourselves to keep and hold that emotional state firm. Now, the sense here with the Turtle is they're saying, oh, these emotions are going to be around for a long time, and we're going to learn how to deal with them for a long time. So I don't know if that means there's a long learning curve here, or if we're just, this is the new way of life, right? And that's what it is. Because as we advance, these are things that stay. These are things that are not going to go away. They're not going to diminish. They're only going to expand in a positive way. So if we learn how to deal with them quite quickly, and there's no cards here that don't signify that we're like that's saying we're having a problem with this. We're taking things as it comes. The Queen of Earth, she's very gentle and kind, and there's nothing you can throw at her that throws her off. So there's a sense here that we're dealing with this as it comes, and we're having an okay time. Nothing's getting out of hand here, especially on the emotional front. We're taming it. It's rising. Our emotional center is rising, but it's not anything that's out of control. And again, we got right down the center, we got our inner peace, our self dealing with. So this is good because that's where we're going to come from. Okay. This is good stuff, Gemini. Okay. Next, the above cards to clarify the Queen of Earth. We have the Death card. Crisis of faith. This is interesting because, yeah, are we talking about religion here? Maybe. Because the sense that I'm getting here, give me a moment to tap into this. Yeah, we may have someone outside of a, okay, I'm getting a scenario here. It may or may not fit, but you're showing me the picture of the two men and how they're holding the set of wands in the middle there. And that a symbol of something we're holding on to, both of us. So there may be someone in your sphere. Now this is going over the Queen of Earth. Now, Queen of Earth is calm, cool, and collected. I know I keep saying that. But she really does have a way that nothing really throws her off. She doesn't lose her composure. It's not the Queen of Swords energy. Now, the sense they're giving me is that somebody may be wanting to either give up a religion or maybe driven by a religion of a certain sort by someone outside of them, that they are finding that it is no longer suitable for them. Okay? That's why I went to religion right away, because as we grow, we seem to drop things. And then we move into, instead of religion, we move into a spiritual sense of everything, that it really can't be boxed in. So I get a similar sense from the Gemini here. I feel like we may have been pushed upon, or may have had opinions pushed upon us. We may have been in a position where it served us and it no longer is doing this. It is no longer serving us to go or think or believe in this way. And they're really saying a crisis of faith. This is what's going on for this energy that I'm picking up on here. Masculine or feminine. Again, the gender doesn't really mean here. It can go across the board because it's so general, right? So yeah, somebody is dropping their faith, but I do not feel this is a bad thing. I feel they are evolving and advancing past. Yeah, here comes the energy. My nose. Sorry, I went through the editing and I'm like, man, leave your nose alone. I couldn't stop, but it's like a little hair that's there scratching it, and it's the flow, right? That's what happens. Driving me nuts, but anyway, I'm going to try and resist. So someone's having a crisis of faith here, but they're handling it quite well with their composure. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And again, it symbolizes an ending of a certain way of being and a moving into a new way of being, having to do with our spirituality and the way that we look at the world from a deeper sense. Okay, on the self card, what do we get to clarify there? 17, the star. This is a light in the darkness. I love this above deck. It's really groovy. The images and also, I mean, the images are pretty traditional, but the meanings that they have, I tend to kind of throw away the rule book, but I like to look at their interpretation of it. And sometimes it's really off of what, tradition. Sometimes the ones that I pick seem to be off tradition, which is kind of like me as well. But there's a light in the darkness here, the self. When we come back into ourselves spiritually and we realize that we have energy, because what they're showing me is there's just an influx of energy coming to the Gemini, and they're adjusting and trying to keep up with the Joneses here, energetically, trying to make sense of their world. Now, they have pushed that energy away, created a safety bubble, if you will. Good for visualization. And they're going inside and going, wait a minute, what do I feel? And this may be the first time that the Gemini's done this. And because they've done this, they're starting to see that all that, it's not oppressive energy, but all that energy is coming at them that they kind of don't want to, they don't know if they want to go there or not. They don't know if they want to invest in that or not. And they're not really given the chance to do that. They're doing this now. They're giving themselves the chance to decide rather than other people deciding for them, which is super duper energy for advancement. This is where we go, right? We go inside and go, how do I truly feel about this? What does my instinct say? What is, how do I feel? Does this make me happy? Does it make me sad? Does it make me, do I feel negative or positive about this? This is what the Gemini is doing. So it's all good. And the star is really about hope in the future. It's interesting to me that we can lose what is socially considered our faith, but we can gain an ascension. And this may be something that the Gemini is playing with. I feel like they're noticing a difference here. They're highly intellectual and they go to the places that other people just wouldn't mentally go there. And I'm not saying, say just the detail, the fine detail and the intellectualism here. And they're pulling that out and making me read it. And really what they're saying is, yeah, we may have lost our faith in a religion, but we're not losing faith that there's not something out there that is for us as we go forward. Because we're going inside to figure it all out, and when we come out, look out, because we're going to advance quite highly. Okay. Next, on top of the 10 of water, which is, you know, the emotional center, I feel is rising in all of us. Again, you should look at some my energy reports, masculine and feminine as well, if you're in a relationship, because these may help you understand what is really happening energetically above and beyond what you're dealing with. So 10 of water, what do we get there? Wow. 8 of air. Look at this shit. Sorry, I gotta swear. This is good stuff. 8 of air. Power of the mind. Look at, we got 2 cards here. The self card and the 8 card, the power of the mind. They both are highly pivotal in self-actualization, realization, boundaries, looking at the world as we see it at this point. This is all coming to bear here in the best possible way. Gemini's just cutting out the outer world and they're going inside and they're going to figure out. And I feel, yeah, this is definitely the pivot point for the Gemini, or the beginning of the end of the way that they were. Because once they come inside and they figure out, because Geminis are very astute intellectually, they pay attention to every little detail. And not only that, they look at both sides of issues, both sides of things. So they're never ever going to make a decision that is not based on your opinion, my opinion. Oh, I can see where you're coming from. And then they compromise. They really can be this way if they are in the highest vibration. And I feel like they're on their way there. I feel like they're going there. So, wow, this is all good stuff. Good spiritual reading, Geminis. I would say so far. I've only done 3 readings, but this is good. Just, if this is the way the readings are going to go, it's all good. Okay. So on the death card here, the Queen of Earth, again, being solid and stable and grounded, which the Gemini can fly off quite wildly in the intellectual area because they're thinking about everybody's opinions. So they're very grounded at this time. This is helping them stay in a good zone here. Now, the geometry card we get, Vesica Piscis. I keep putting Pisces in it. Vesica Piscis, divine union. Okay, now we may be in a divine union, or we may be thinking about a divine union in our sphere here. Yeah, okay. What they're explaining to me, they're going, remember the death card is our faith. We may have someone, like they say, when they have a divine union, they will really put you in an opposite polarity. Not polarity. I got to watch my wording. I put it. They're putting you with someone who may have a differing religious point of view. Here goes my cat. I'm sorry, But if I bring her in, I'm going to be up and back and up and back, and there's going to be cuts in my edit. I'm going to have to let her in because she's going to scream through, and I realize that my audio here picks up every little thing. So Vesica Piscis, she's just going to cry. I tried to let her in, she wouldn't come in, so here we go. Queen of Earth, yeah, death. Okay, so what they're saying is we may be giving up our religion or our belief system in a way. But the sense they're giving me is we're going to be giving it up because we're outgrowing it anyway. And, you know, this divine union, there's a difference here in opinions spiritually from where we came from and where we're going. Now, it may not necessarily be that we're nabbing onto the divine partner's sense of it, but we're going inside to figure out where we stand on it. And then this divine union has something to do with that. It may have precipitated this, which sometimes usually happens. There's a sense that, you know, life-changing, it just kind of triggers life-changing movements. When you get into a divine union, a lot of stuff changes and you develop and evolve more quickly than you would have in any other relationship. So there's a sense of this happening at this time. Okay, so Vesica Piscis. Okay, next card here, again, dealing with the self and the star signifying that there's a light in the darkness here and we're clinging quite highly, and we're going to go inside and make sure that this light is where we want to go. The geometry card on top of that, the caduceus, expanding knowledge and sexual vitality. So yeah, like, I mean, all over this is just an expansion. We are expanding. We're taking ourselves out of the mix spiritually against anybody who's coming in our sphere. We are isolating ourselves in the best possible way because we're connecting, one, to ourselves and figuring out what we want, and then two is to a spiritual energy other than us, and that may be a far reach from where we were pulled from, like where our family believes. We may be starting to venture off on our own in that way. They're showing me a child like going to school, right? Because you're with your mother, you know, those toddler years. And then suddenly you gotta break away from that and do things outside of the family. You can't be with your family 100%. So there's a sense here of being devoted to something and maybe not understanding it fully and completely. And I feel like we're going to do this and we're going to make sense of that. Now, there's something to be said here for the sexual vitality. The caduceus and the Vesica Piscis, these are about divine unions. Now, the first one is just the signifier that these two are meeting. There's a union coming, whatever. Now, this caduceus is really signifying the actual physical union in a sexual way. So there's a sense here of this, okay? Okay. Had to just say that. Next, on top of the emotional, the 10 of water, and then we get into the 8 of air, which is the power of the mind from the, man, a lot of self soothing energy here, which is good, because it really does signify we can't be in a soothing energy unless we heal somewhat, or inadvertently heal when we're going in, and we do whenever we go in and analyze and figure things out and mentally pick things apart, we can understand better, and then that brings our emotions to bear, and we make decisions, and from those decisions we evolve. Okay, next, on top of the 8 here, the geometry card is fire, creation and destruction. So we have our emotions in a center here where they are not getting out of control. We are keeping them quite well under control. There may be some things hidden from us in the future, and I feel like what they're making me feel is that we may be hidden from thinking that this is a temporary thing. We may be thinking, oh, our emotions are flying, but and it's just temporary. It's just this person, or it's just this situation that's they're going, no, we are going to have to learn to deal with our emotions. We cannot flatten them, but we're going to have to learn to deal with this emotional state and this new emotional way that's come forth for the long term. So we have to get that into our mind, because we're thinking it's just a one-shot deal, and then our emotions will go back down to where we were, and they're going, no, this is not so. So did that make sense to you? The way that you're thinking, we need to adapt that a little bit. And the fire is the creation, destruction. I feel like that is the emotional center that they're referring to, because we're clarifying it. And two, because this is what we're at this time, they're going, at this time we're successful in riding things out, flattening things out. But they're going, the emotions are only going to come like right up to, we're not going to get choked off by them, but it can be if we do not deal with them. So there's a sense here that this is where the root problem here that might be in the future is the fact that we may not bring our emotions to bear completely. We're so in control here with the way that we feel emotionally that we're they're going, it's just one step from stuffing, because we're not communicating that outward, but the universe is going, we realize that we are doing this to make sense of our world, but once we come back out of our self-analyzation and move forward here, we are going to have to deal with those emotions, because those emotions are here to stay. So I think that was the most important thing for the Gemini here, is we're not just, this isn't just a phase, this isn't just a weekly occurrence, this is something for the future, this is a new way of life. So this is what they're ingraining. Okay, so creation and destruction is simply that, is these emotions are creating turbulence. We are having a good time surfing the wave here, but in the future, it can be destructive if we do not pay attention to them, if we go back to old ways where we would stuff them and not deal and da-da-da. And specifically, they're going, we are going inside now, but we have not for so long. And look how much we've learned going inside. We don't want to not follow this pattern in the future, meaning self-soothing, but also self-analysis, in order to come out on the other end clearer. We don't want to go on autopilot, is really what I'm getting here. Because once we do, then those emotions will start destructing the relationship, whatever you're dealing with. You will start to become unhappy, this kind of thing. So these emotions are rising. They need to be brought to the surface to bear. Okay, we'll leave it at that. The mini cards on top of the Queen. Now, as we go to the Queen of Earth here, again, I felt like we may be literally in the throes of releasing a religious belief system, because it may no longer serve. A divine union may have been part of this triggering process to get us to that point. What do we get to clarify here? We get the Hermit, and that's your search for instinct. Yeah. So it's all, if we're going point by point here, we're not missing any steps. This is the sense I'm getting. We have a union with a partner here that has spurred us, maybe a different attitude towards certain things here. And we're going inside to figure out if that's truly what we want as we go forward. We're searching for our instinct. It's all good. Okay. On the self and the star, the light and the darkness, the caduceus, again, a union here highly charged as to bringing us to a point of advancement. Card we get to clarify on top of that is the Eight of Wands, which talks about bearing fruit. Now, the sense that I'm getting is as soon as we went inside, our outside world changed. Or, how do you explain that? Our perception changes when we go inside, because we were the type, we go outside and we look at everybody else. What is everybody else doing? And you kind of just fly, right? Because you're air. You kind of just float. It's like one of those hot air balloons. You just float where it takes you. You're not necessarily driving it. It's kind of driving itself. So when we have the bearing fruit here, I feel like as soon as we went inside, something on the outside started to shift. And that's because our frequency shift, just the fact of focusing inward. So this is good. It's just all part of the process of moving forward here and advancing, but we're noticing it, okay? The Gemini's noticing it. Now on top of the emotions and sitting with the self under the lotus leaf here, the power of the mind, the creation, destruction. Again, the creation of emotions not going away. So if we don't deal with it more in the future and bring it outward is what they're saying. If we keep it in too much, there's going to be a sense of destruction that it can create within a relationship or within ourselves where we do not see things clearly. What do you get? The elemental of swords, the essence of thought. Yeah, that's our element. And that's just stating that we are in our thoughts quite highly here about all our emotional stuff. And what they're saying is we just need to learn how to bring it forward. We are feeling it, so we have to make others aware that we're feeling it. This is all. And, you know, the only thing I see here is a partner, and that's really where we got to go with it. If we trust that partner, it's a divine partner, the probability is there that there can be trust. But if we have our emotional center stuffed, it's really just going to create havoc in all areas. It's not going to go forward. That will be the destruction, is if we keep all our emotions inside. We may not trust that that's the right thing to do because it's so new, it's so fresh, but the sense they're giving me is if we do not spread that emotionalism around to at least that partner, that one partner, it's just going to create a destructive phase where we're just not going to be happy with things. Everything starts to fall. They're showing me like bricks falling from the sky. So the essence of thought here, we really have to understand things in the mind first. And I feel like that's what they're doing. And then once they do that, they'll come outward with it. And the smart thing to do is to explore that with a partner that we trust as we go forward. If we do not trust that partner, then this may be the destruction of things if we are in a partnership. So the planetary card we get for Gemini is the Sun in Capricorn, the number 10. Status, work diligently towards your goals. This may be your PowerPoint, Geminis. Your status, and I feel like that's really what brought these Geminis to center, is where do I want to be in life? What kind of vibe do I want to throw off? What am I throwing off right now? It's not aware of this. So they're trying to gather up their resources to become, one, aware of what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they want to go forward and do it. And then they're going to make adjustments in this way. And really the only problem area I see here, or the warning that I get, is be willing to show your emotions to someone you trust and go from there. Yeah, because there's a lot of thought processes about how we deal with things, which is really good because we're lining up with what we want, and that's what they want you to do. But the emotional center is not going away, so don't think that we could just deal with it now and then go back to autopilot. It's going to be an adjustment. It's a fine-tuning is what they're saying. There's going to be some fine-tunements here. We can't just go back to the way things are. On certain levels we can, but there's a higher awareness here, so we're just going to adapt to that. So the Sun in Capricorn is really full-on energy. 10s are about completions. There's a death here. There's an ending of a certain way that we were dealing. And I feel it's highly spiritual for the Gemini. And they may be taking their status into account all along here. as to how they make their decisions. So work diligently towards your goals and you'll find success. The pyramid here on top, it's just the light, and there's two cards here referencing a light and a darkness. So again, there's this sense of darkness that we were in the way that we were not advanced, and now we are, and we're seeing our world differently. And this is what it's all about. So this is what they're wanting you to do. So it's all good. Gemini's good. This isn't a bad reading at all. This is a very spiritually advanced. And again, if you watched, I can't remember if it's the energy report or the masculine and feminine, but very much the air signs are ahead of the game here, because instinctively they're just doing what they need to do. And here for this Gemini, it is looking inward and finding the light. And guess what? It was there all along. They just didn't feel it because they were so focused on their outside world. So that's the discovery that the Gemini's making. So take care, have fun, be kind, Gemini. Talk to you soon.